I just blocked some dude named Sean Hepner. I don't know who that is, but I don't understand the whole concept of like sending a girl a shirtless photo and thinking that that might work. So I replied with, what the WTF? That's my story for today. And honestly, look, I hate talking about it, but as someone who has dealt with this kind of behavior her whole life, both in person and on social media, I'm so done with it. It's not flattering. It's disgusting. It's perverted. And I'm putting this perverted action on blast because it's dumb. This is the kind of stuff we live with in our society. This is the kind of stuff that we have all the information in the world at our fingertips. We should be geniuses, and yet we're sending dick pics. Come on, guys. That's gross. And you can do better. I know, I get it. It's one shirtless photo this time. But understand, guys, that I've given way too many excuses to way too many men. And the reality of it is, with the society that we live in today, this kind of perverted behavior shouldn't be accepted in any form. So I'm putting it on blast from now on. Okay, so I was thinking about what I posted yesterday about dudes who send nudes. Dudes, nudes. I should be a rapper. Anyway, there were a lot of women who replied back and were like, yeah, I get that all the time. It's disgusting. This needs to stop. This is crazy. I mean, come on. I'm clearly not the only one that gets this. This is like an epidemic. But yet it still goes on. Why is that? I think a part of it is because, one, a woman already feels shameful, guilty, and just gross when it happens. It's not something you really want to talk about. No woman wants to be known as that girl, because somehow the blame ends up on you when the dude's the one sending the nudes and being inappropriate. Everyone kind of comes back with, well, how were you dressed? How were you acting? Where were you going? Where were you at? What were you doing to invite that sort of behavior? But let me tell you something my own father told me. When I was 17 years old, I moved out, and that was my first year of college. I was really shy, and I didn't like to cause attention, so I pretty much dressed how I dress now. Just baggy clothes, didn't stand out, didn't want to stand out. And yet somehow, some way, there were always those idiot dudes that felt it necessary to whistle, honk, make inappropriate gestures towards me, and it made me really uncomfortable. It happened so much, in fact, that it got to that point where I thought there was something that I was doing that was wrong. Was I inviting this kind of behavior? Am I really that kind of person? Is that how people see me? As someone who would accept that kind of behavior? I began to wonder what was wrong with me. So I came home after my very first semester and I began to just vent to my dad and complain about all the stupidity that I experienced, and I asked that question. Is there something that I could be doing differently? Now, after my dad got over the pure rage of wanting to kill half the men in my life, he gave me this very important advice, and it still rings true today. It doesn't matter if you were dressed inappropriately or not. It doesn't matter if you were butt stripped naked standing on the side of the road and inviting that kind of behavior. No man, no real gentleman is to treat any person with any sort of disrespect or disvalue. So don't accept any of the blame for the stupidity of others. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a father who showed me what a true gentleman should look like, who showed me what true masculinity looks like, and what valuing yourself and valuing others can do. So a quick shout out to my dad, because he's always protected me. He's always been kind to me. He's always loved me. He's disciplined me. He's taught me to be strong. He's taught me to be independent. And he's taught me what a true man really should look like towards his family and towards others. Unfortunately, I know too many women in this world, and a lot of women that I know personally, didn't have that growing up. In fact, it was their own fathers that disvalued them or disrespected them. And for that, I'm so sorry. And I could go so many different directions with this video on that one subject alone, but what I want to focus on now is it's time to take a stand against this pervertedness. And I'm not talking about holding up picket signs and knocking down doors like so many women are doing now. That's a little immature. Sorry, ladies, but we can do better. What we can do is start raising awareness in a more mature manner. We can express that we are strong, that we are worthy, and we are independent without being childish. And honestly, that starts in the home. Ladies, it's time to start raising your sons with respect towards women and towards people in general. It's time to start monitoring what they watch on their computers because, quite frankly, have you seen what's on the internet? It's horrible. Let's focus on raising a new generation of men with more respect towards women who value masculinity and equality. And it's time to start speaking out in the moment. I know so often, and I'm guilty of this, we just want to shut it off. We want to ignore it. We want to pretend it didn't happen and kind of just hope that it goes away. But the problem is if we don't actually address this when it happens, the problem's only going to persist. And as long as we don't speak up and we don't speak out, you're only giving permission for that person to do it again, to either you or to someone else. Get really cautious about this subject because, for instance, when I first saw the hashtag #MeToo movement, my immediate thought was, oh God, the only thing that this movement is going to do is give a lot of desperate women looking for attention a voice. And as I continued to think about it, I thought, this stuff happens all the time, alright? People just need to move on and move forward with their life. There's always going to be perverts in the world. And as soon as I said that, I felt guilty. I legitimately heard the Holy Spirit say to me, that's why it is so important to raise awareness. Because this should not be normal in society. So honestly, I agree the whole hashtag #MeToo movement is still going to invite a lot of people who are just desperate for attention. But that's with any movement. It doesn't mean that we should dismiss the awareness that they're trying to raise in society today. Which is that sexual assault is extremely prevalent in our society today and absolutely nothing is being done about it. It's easy to ignore, but the longer we do, the worse this problem gets. So I'm going to do my small part and make a commitment to no longer be silent.